Peace, peace, y'all. Peace, 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 peace. You're asking me about a LeBron. I don't know what's going on with Bron. Peace, y'all. What's good? What's good? Happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. You know what I'm talking about? Make yourselves comfortable. We got a powerful live that we're going to be sharing with you. I have a special guest. You know what I'm talking about? I'm bringing my brother in, the Blue Pillar, who I think is shadow banned. They blocking the guard, so I gotta pull him on in. You feel me? Make yourselves comfortable. Do I have locks? I do not have locks. I'm a dreadhead, but I don't have locks. It's just my shit is extra puffy today. You know what I'm talking about? Who's trying to kill Jamie Foxx? I want to know. Talk to me, y'all. Who's trying to knock off Big Jamie? You know what I mean? Pray for Jamie Foxx. He's been down bad for a minute now. That is a very talented man. I don't meddle because somebody was like, all he do is sleep with white women. Does that mean that he's supposed to die? Lord have mercy. You know what I'm talking about? Tag that nigga. Whoever's trying to kill Jamie, tag him. Like, let's not, because niggas is like Puffy. Like, now y'all saying his old name and everything. If tag him. Stop playing. Don't be scared. He ain't gonna tag him. You know what I'm saying? We deal with the truth over here. What's going on? What's going on? Today,
Yes, sir.
today is a very powerful day. There's two things going on today. It's the eclipse in Scorpio, and we have Cinco de Mayo, right? So it's double lit, you know what I mean? And tomorrow, the coronation of King Charles. Not Charles from BMF, Big King, Big Charles. And he's gonna flaunt all of that stolen jewelry. He's gonna on a world tomorrow.
Let's set the stage. And I want you to name this one 456 HEADCRACK. Right? And we'll show the continuity of this. We're gonna have a high level conversation. Shout out to the brother 19 Keys. Shout out to brother Rich. Shout out to Yaki. Shout out to all of the truth seekers, all of the, the torch bearers, anybody who represents information that you can't necessarily access, on these regular channels, if you will. Right? We're gonna demonstrate why we do what we do, how we do what we do. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna have a high level observation about with these 3 days in common. Why do they pack such a powerful punch? So May 4th, May 5th, and May 6th of this year in particular are gonna signal some very pivotal moments in time. Yesterday was the 530th anniversary of the Doctrine of Discovery. And the Doctrine of Discovery was enacted as a papal bull on May 4th, 1493 by an individual named Pope Alexander VI. Right? It's that Pope talk. Right? Shout out to Pope Pablo. Okay, it's that Pope talk. And why is May 4th one of the most significant dates in melanated world history? Because it's when they gave the permission or the edict, the Pope issued an edict allowing the conquer and the conquest of all indigenous people around the globe, right, in the name of Christ, right? They utilize the big homie and the Prince of Peace to wage war on the planet, to bloody the whole planet up, to continue the empire, the pursuits of the Roman Empire. When when Constantine, right, picked up Christianity in the 300 ADs, I believe, by having an apparition. What is an apparition? There was a supernatural occurrence that's responsible for Christianity being what it is today.
Right. Yeah.
There were two, matter of fact. The entire premise of Christianity is based on supernatural occurrences from beginning to end. But these two, in particular, in our lifetime, was the apparition, the transformation of Saul to Paul on the road to Damascus. He encountered a spirit and had an apparition. He encountered an apparition and had a spiritual transformation, right? And that changes the face of Christianity forever. This happened in the early, because he started his mission in 44 AD. So this happened to happen in 43 AD, or maybe even 44 AD. He had the apparition or the encounter with a spirit. The same thing happens, and he's riding a donkey, pause. The same thing happens with Constantine, right, who was the emperor of Rome at the time. This was a period of time when there was a separation of church and state.
Right.
And for the very first time, as the emperor, he adopts Christianity because he has a spiritual encounter on the road where the apparition or the spirit of said quote unquote dead man Jesus comes and approaches him and shows him the sword or the cross, right? Because they're interchangeable when it comes to Christianity, and say, conquer in the name of this.
Right.
So he understood that he can use religion as a shield for empire conquest, for empirical conquest, and that has been taking place to this day. Yes.
Give a little context about Saul and his murder game.
Yeah, Saul was washing up the what's considered to be the followers of Christ, because they wasn't called Christians yet. They didn't become Christians until Paul, until he enacted his mission. They become Christians in Antioch.
Yeah.
The same place where the earthquakes just hit the other day is Turkey and Syria. Both of them places where Christianity started at the same time, coincidingly, based on the mission that Paul and them was doing.
Right.
But he was washing up the people who were considered to be the followers of Christ. They were hunting them down and killing them at the time, because he was still running plays for Rome, and he was still running plays for the Pharisees, for the Jewish people, if you will. They were hunting them down and killing them like dogs.
Right.
Paul comes about and brings a lot of different reformations. He also opens up Christianity to the Gentiles, right? It makes it no longer just a Hebrew thing. He also incorporates all of the mystical pagan rituals. He's the one who brought about the Eucharist. So as he's traversing the countryside and different lands, spreading what was called the good news at that time, he had to incorporate the pagan ceremonies and rituals that these people had incorporated. He couldn't take everything from them, so he had to let them keep some things. He had to incorporate some things to make Christianity more attractive. And he was the one they said that was responsible, who made a regular prophet into a god with his pen game. Paul wrote 14 books out of the 22 in the New Testament, or they call it the letters, specifically. Well, he was responsible for 14 letters, but he has imprints in 14 out of the 22 books of the New Testament. That's why they call it Pauline Christianity. There is no Christianity without Paul. There's no New Testament without Paul. There's no Jesus without Paul. Right? Only a regular prophet. There's no this concept of a God, son, and all of that stupid shit. Hold on. Give me a second.
There's more niggas named Paul in the world then.
Huh?
I said there should be more niggas in the world named Paul, if that's the case.
There's a lot. And they're very instrumental either in keeping the matrix together,
right,
or breaking it apart. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Pauls and the Pablos of this world.
That's right.
But let's get back to May 4th, 1493. So the empirical conquest already starts by the Romans, right, to utilize Christianity as a shield to go into other people's country to spread the empire of Rome. Mind you, these are the same people that would allegedly killed the Christ. Same ones, right? Nothing changed. Right. Niggas never even found out what the last, like, who's the Pontius Pilates? Whose surnames is the Pilates in the world? Shouldn't they have a black cloud over their head? Shouldn't they be the black sheeps of the planet? I bet you them niggas is part of the black nobility though. It's sitting on billions. Anyway, so he starts an empirical conquest to spread Christianity, or what they call Christendom, because now they started crusading and you know, running down on the enemies. Well, this comes later, should I say, because if I'm not, you know what I'm saying, we have to factor in when Islam comes into play, right? Right. You got to factor a lot of things in, right? Because the Byzantine Constantinople deals with Constantine, right? So this is like the Turkey area. Again, where this shit starts at. Nonetheless, by the time we get to the 1400s, Christendom is in full fledged because they're fighting Islam and they're crusading, and they're battling the Moors, right? The latest iteration of Islam dealing with the Moors in the Iberian Peninsula, and they're driving them out, and they have to form Christendom. Christendom is a consortium of different nation states that were once warring. These are the Europeans that you would call French, right? The Franks from Gaul,
right?
Visigoths. These are the Germans.
The Gaul.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The Goths
and all of them, right? And these Visigoths or these Germans ultimately is where the bloodline of King Charles and them come from, by way of Bavaria, right? They are the Coburg-Habsburgs, and they come from a bloodline out of Bavaria, Germany, that's tied to the Holy Roman Empire by way of the melanated Moorish saints that were in that area, such as Saint Maurice, right? And these are African Roman popes, right? The Holy Roman Empire is not the Roman Empire. These were two separate and distinct empires. Right?
Not the Holy See.
Not the Holy See, right? So they, in 1493, Pope Alexander IV separates the planet, even though, mind you, if Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492 and they thought that the world was flat and they just found the new world, how is the Pope coming behind him in 1 year and separating this newfound world? They haven't traversed the entire North America continents. How you going to give something away that, one, you didn't know existed yesterday, right? I was this old age when I found out that there was a West Hemisphere of the planet. You niggas is dumb.
Well, you know,
and I would call it to question your entire religious operation if your God did not tell you that there was a whole nother side of the planet on the other side of the planet, and you found out by accident, right?
How informative is your God?
All of you need the gas face, and shame on the generations that came before us that never knew how to ask these questions or to properly prompt. The fucking idiocracy, when I was hearing this shit because I was not indoctrinated as a child.
Right.
These were the questions I was asking.
Confucius. That's what it caused. Confusion.
You didn't even get through the landmass, and so the Pope separates the planet in two. He gives the Western Hemisphere to Spain, and he gives the Eastern Hemisphere to Portugal. Right?
Right.
And so then they come over here with the armadas, right? Spain comes with hundreds of flotillas of ships and armadas to wage war on the people with the edict in hand called the Papal Bull. So they pull up to the shores, they encounter indigenous people, and they ask them, is Jesus Christ your Lord and your Savior? They're like, nigga, who and what?
Right.
Mind you, even though they was encountering some of these people over here who had mad ancient Hebraic motifs with them, So they knew about a concept of what would later become, or married into tenets of Christianity, but they weren't Christians. There was no Christians. That's a very new thing on this planet. Yeah, they may even known about the story of the quote unquote Jesus or Christ or what have you, but not how the Romans were propagating and pushing this program. So they like, damn, homie, we call it something else, and they still killed them because they was really there to rob them, to steal their land and steal their riches. So these people who come from largesse, these people who come from wealth, these people who allegedly come from abundance were poor before they raided the people that they tell you have nothing and were pagans and were without God, right? Indian comes from the word Indios, right? So in the translation of that can either mean in God or without God. So they were saying these people were without God, but how were they blessed with so much mineral riches if man has dominion over the mineral kingdom, and that is your fortune, right? That is your inheritance.
Yes.
That is to show, right,
That you're in favor.
that you're in favor. Yeah, nigga, I'm sitting on the deposits of gold. I'm sitting on the silver deposits of the planet. I'm sitting on the copper deposits of the planet. I'm sitting on, the thing that is cherished is considered wealth. But you come over here, and before even getting to know these people and negotiating with them, you knock them off and take their wealth and then bring it back to where you at and try to stunt like you wealthy. No, nigga, you are a murderer, a rapist, and a robber.
Exactly.
And that's what they did. So what you're gonna see tomorrow, right? Well, that's 5-4. Let's go to 5-5. So shout out to my brother Illuminati Congo.
Legend.
And he has a post. I highly recommend that you go to his page and read his post in entirety because it's very lengthy, and he does the knowledge. He does the full homework on the coronation, or should I say the participation of Haile Selassie and what he meant to Ethiopia and the Kushite kingdom as it applies to the true bloodline. Now, it all depends on how your chips fall, right? And how you buy into this narrative, this story. You could be like, oh, it's pure mythos. I don't ascribe to none of that. All of it is fake. Okay, cool. You have every ability to do so. But if you're caught up in any of the Abrahamic religions and you are adherent to such, then you would acknowledge that there's a bloodline because you probably actually believe that these people actually existed. And if there was an actual bloodline, you know what I'm saying? Then it will run through a Kushite bloodline and it will come out of Ethiopia. It's a Solomonic bloodline of which they say what? Haile Selassie and them is connected to that bloodline. So the British monarchs are literally, right, propagating the mythos that they are derivatives of the Judaic bloodline by way of the line of Judah and Solomon. Why else do you think that they're sitting on the throne, considering calling themselves monarchs and kings, and they're about to go through with a coronation tomorrow? They're sitting up there saying that they are the bloodline.
Right.
That's the claim that they lay down to say we're the bloodline. And again, I explained to you the other day, they initially came under the auspices of the church. They split from the church and they created the Church of England, of which the Archbishop of Canterbury sits on top of. He's the one that's going to do the coronation. So the Pope would be considered the vicegerent on the planet of quote unquote God. He's his right hand. He's his hitter, right? He's the runner. He's supposed to be endowed, right, with the hand of the Most High in order for him to coronate on this planet and say, yo, you're the king, you're the this, you're the that, right? That's the power that the Pope allegedly has. When you see the Archbishop of Canterbury, he still is operating in the capacity of the Pope because their church is split, but they don't got beef. Like how the Pope got beef with the Eastern Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox, the ones that's running up in Ukraine and fighting a holy war right now.
Right.
That is a notable split that they had with the church, and they got beef.
Right.
Right. Remember, Russia don't fuck with the Pope. They don't mess with them at all. They at war with them. England is different. If they got beef, it's a little bit more quiet and subtle. You know what I'm saying? But they definitely work together.
Right.
And they work together in tandem in the global campaign of slavery. So what recently happened is the church or the Pope or the Vatican, for that matter, made they denounced the doctrine of discovery.
No. They made a repudiation of it.
Okay, they made a repudiation. They didn't rescind it.
They didn't do that yet. They didn't renounce it yet.
They made a repudiation, and it was 44 days after we did our lecture, of which I said the only acceptable results that we want to see, and this came from the Pope, Pablo, that is. God damn it. I said the only thing that would remedy all of the fuck shit that we just shared with y'all, because it was a 7-hour lecture. We laid it out in every way imaginable about, we put the charges on the church. We put the charges on the Pope. We put the charges on their ancestors. We put the charges on people who come under the banner that got blood on their hands. Because if you rock with them, you got blood on your hands. Because they're murderers and thieves. So you calling that's your big homie? He got stains on him, right? I'm sliding on the whole squad then.
Right. Yeah, I'm on some King Von shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get your mans in them.
Yeah, I'm gonna get your mans in them if I can't get you.
Right.
Right? Granny gonna get
And we
pause.
gonna spray the
yeah, and we lighten the funeral up. So that's what we did with them, right? Those that you already know the narrative and the history and the story. 44 days after that, they came out and they made a denunciation, or they were, you know what I'm saying, a rescinding or repudiation of the doctrine. Either which way, a needle was moved, nigga, and the Pope ended up in the hospital the same day.
Oh, nah.
So y'all could call it what you want. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could call it what you want. I know.
See that black magic?
Yeah. Yeah, y'all don't see the nigga in all white. You just don't get it. Anyway.
Keep going, bro. Keep going.
That was that, 5/5, which is today, deals with the coronation and dealing with Selassie. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Illuminati Congo laid out an elaborate explanation of how they resonate with the penta, or the number 5. This dualistic number. What does 5 represent? What does the pentagram represent? What does penta represent? Right? It's really talking about man. Don't get into the elaborate spookism of it. I admonish you, family, I really want you to learn a little bit more about esoteric information so you can stop being so spooked. So when you see a number or you see a symbol, you know what I mean, you get scary. This is how these people is running circles around us as people, because we scared of symbols. And we're not doing the homework to really understand that there's a latent power in all things, or else you wouldn't be scared of how somebody else is using it.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So it's 555. It's 5523. So it's the triple fives. You know what I'm saying? And tonight is a Scorpion new moon. A full moon, my bad. It's a Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse. Last year during the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse, they took down slime. This is when they had the YSL indictment, and this is when the lunar and the cryptocurrency, there was 2 of them that crashed at the same time. It was the stable coin UST, and it was lunar moon, right? What the hell is a full eclipse, Scorpio full moon, but a lunar, you know what I'm saying? In Taurus. Taurus is financial institutions, banking, and big money.
Right.
This became, and then now you get the shadow of it with First National, and you know what I'm saying? And all of these other banks are still falling. This is still the domino effect of the initial downfall of the banks that started last year during the eclipse, and you know what I'm saying, during the season of Taurus, full moon, Scorpio. Right? When they snatched up slime and slat in them, who go by the name of Sex, Money, Murder, which is the Scorpio Taurus axis. Sex, Scorpio, money, Taurus, murder, Scorpio. Am I making this up?
I mean, if you are, niggas
right?
need to send you the 50 cent.
Or again, if I'm making this up, I need my own power series.
You need book 4, nigga. You need book 4, little nigga.
I need book 4 power, and you know what I'm saying. But once again, this is just a high level observation. You dig what I'm saying? Because we already seen this shit before it happened. I've been talking about coronation since 2020 when C-19 started hitting, and I told y'all about the corona rising. So the thing about Prince Charles,
I see niggas running with your cloth.
I mean, you know, it happens. He's born on our born day, right? So he's a doppelganger to us. We're 47, he's 74.
Say that again.
Huh?
King Charles, the one that's being coronated tomorrow.
The one that's being coronated tomorrow, right, is 74 years old, born on November 14th.
Same day.
We're on November 14th, but we're 47. So there's a mirroring going on. You know what I'm saying? There's a mirroring going on. We've always had our eyes on this individual and what he meant to the quote unquote, you know, landscape or what have you. He happens to be the very top person in the esoteric mystical systems. They refer to him as Pindar, right? He's the red dragon. You can't get higher than him on the totem pole. So when Epstein and them do their rituals, this the nigga that comes and gets the first holy grail of blood. This the nigga that gets the largest fat, the largest piece of fat of the baby that they sacrifice.
Right.
And don't you niggas go getting puritanical on me now, right?
Hold on.
Is what they do.
And to show you the evidence of that, the receipts to it, his brother got caught up in the controversy, Prince Andrew. It's almost like if Blue got caught up, you would assume that Red was in the building. They just didn't say my name.
Back.
But his brother, the lower hanging fruit, who wasn't in line to be the next king, he had to take the brunt of it.
Took the hit.
Took the hit. But the parents are gone. The father and the mama is gone. The only person left is his brother to police him. So you know what the fuck that's gonna be. Yo, just
right.
Stay out the spotlight, stay in the dungeon.
Yeah, stay in the basement. We're gonna bring the bodies to you. Don't come
just
upstairs.
Just feed you the bodies.
Right? Yeah, the Malak, right? The Malak. How they get down, right? They make animals, they make children sacrifices to their Babylonian god, the god of money, the god of, you know, Largis. So what we're gonna see tomorrow is a display of Largis.
Hold on, let me put my royal jewels on too. Fuck it, we coronating.
Yeah, we coronating. I had to go opal on you niggas because we talking about Kushite Ethiopian shit. So yeah, shout out to the man them. You know what I'm saying? I got them opals in. I got my Ethiopian, right?
I got the red opals.
All right, I got them opals. You know, shout out to the Kushites. So yeah, they are coronating the Lizard King tomorrow, right? And there's gonna be a lot of blood flowing. But it starts tonight because it's the Scorpion full moon on 5/5. So, you know, don't go out there and get wet and lose your bearings out here in the world, not knowing where you at, stumbling, looking all sloppy and shit. Nigga, you know, you might run a risk of getting snatched up in these streets and becoming part of a global ceremony. Feel me? Be on your P's and your Q's. You know what I mean?
On them in the UK, you know, travel, you know, keep your shit on swivel, bro, because they're doing a lot of rituals from tonight and on.
No, the rituals already started.
They already started.
Rituals already started. You know what I'm saying? But we don't want to overly concern ourselves with things that don't deserve our attention. I'm just saying, as a safety measure, be mindful. Don't fall into you being inebriated with overindulgence in distilled spirits today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you got to understand, even the celebration of Cinco de Mayo, you know, everything that's taking place, you know, in Mexico is affected and by what took place yesterday by way of March 4th, 1493. Mexico would not be a dominion or a vassal of Spain, right? It would not be that if it didn't fall under the conquest of the conquistadors. If it wasn't for that papal bull, there would be no iteration of Mexico the way that we see it today. There would be no separation of the children of the conquistadors that knocked the people that's indigenous that still got a tint of melanin in their blood and are subjugated to this very day.
Somebody said Canelo fights tomorrow. Bumba Claude.
Yeah, so Canelo is the child of the Spaniards. When Canelo was fighting
Mayweather,
that was Mayweather's 44th defense. So I had no choice but to study Canelo. Canelo is the perfect candidate for what you would look at to see this is a child of Spain. He is a Mexican child of Spanish conquistadors.
right?
Right. He does not represent the melanated indigenous Mexican. He is their replacement. So when you see Canelo fight, that is a celebration of Spain, my nigga. Hence the fact that I'm sure you're going to see them flying Spaniard flags along with the Mexicans one when it comes to Canelo. I ain't hating or shooting in the dark, my niggas. Trust me. This is shit that I've been studying, and I ain't been wrong yet.
I just want to say something before I forget that the ritual, you was like, oh, they already doing the rituals, and then boop, a light bulb went off in my head because New York City is the capital, one of the capitals of the empire, right? London being another one.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
The Scorpio, the eclipse represents.
Carlo, man.
Huh? Shout out to Carlo. What the Scorpio eclipse represents, when you break it down, is death, sudden deaths, and protests. So in New York City, right, they killed in the year of 2023 a man named Jordan.
Yes, Jordan.
Right?
Look, not only that, in my last sermon, right, which I believe in the last one on last Sunday, the 51st one, the way that I read scripture, I coincided with the days of the Gregorian calendar. Why the one from Sunday was dealing with them crossing the River Jordan. I had got into my whole breakdown and explained to the family what the word Hebrew means. It means to cross over. So I was like, isn't it a coincidence that you keep finding these passages in the Bible talking about a people who are crossing over a river? God assists them, because it wasn't just the Red Sea with Moses. Moses also crossed them over the Jordan, and that scripture fell last weekend. The murder happened on Monday. I read this shit on Sunday, and I could go back into the scripture, because when I read scripture, I'll read from Friday, I'll read from sometimes Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I know the scripture that I read specifically dealing with the Jordan River fell from the scripture dealing with Sunday or Monday, and that's when he got clipped.
Right.
Yeah. And we dealing with the AI crossover during this, this year of AI in 23.
Right.
AI
crossing over 23.
Right. So crossing over a body of water, that is the meaning of the word Hebrew, which is abiru. Right. Shout out to my brother A.A. Rashid, who teaches, amazingly, on the transliteration and translation and understanding Hebrew from a practical and a mystical, import via Kabbalah.
Right.
So, yeah, and then they was just coming out of Passover and the Easter ceremonies and those rituals, and all of this stuff is dealing with these ideas and these concepts of who these quote unquote unknown mystical people are, who keep showing up. So the dude Jordan, yeah, he gets killed, choked out on the subway, right? Subterranean.
No, he gets lynched. The fact that his arms were being held down, right? Because he could have broke out of the chokehold. Two other ruffians were holding his arms down while he was being choked out for 15 minutes, bro.
I ain't watch it. I don't. I
Just
don't.
giving you the context. Don't watch it. I'm just here to share. You know, I watched the shit got triggered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't need to watch it. But there are two other assailants,
Word.
and one they both melanated, bro.
Word.
This is New York. Get the fuck out. You know niggas don't got no pride in New York, man. Yeah, it was a nigga, bro, who held that man's arms down. So
Yeah. So because like I explained, that coming back to New York and coming to the Apollo and putting things in perspective myself when I was on the plane, I was just thinking about this full circle thing, and I'm like, damn, I almost got. They tried to kill me with a chokehold in front of the Apollo in '07.
man, I seen that video that you put on the gram, and that shit sent chills through my body, bro. Like I'm still, that shit fucked with me when it happened, and I'm still fucked up over that because I realized how close we came to losing you. You know what I mean? And yeah, bro, niggas just filmed that shit and ain't do nothing. And that was the beginning of me realizing that niggas will film you getting killed and won't do nothing for the footage.
That was the first filming of them watching a nigga being attempted to be killed and not do nothing. And again, and this has been a drawn out conversation because this is what started the era of footage on the internet with the conscious community. That was one of the first tapes I remember that went up.
Right.
But I'm like, I put it in perspective and I make excuses for it because I'm like, it would have been a bloodbath out there. Niggas was scared. The women wasn't. And that was the thing. They wanted to intercede. But I said, when I found myself on the ground and I seen the police reaching for their gun, they were going to say, he's reaching or he has a gun, and they was going to pop me because I was embarrassing them. Because I was really flinging the niggas around like they was paper dolls. Right? Your boy had human strength in that incident.
Right, you turned into Spider-Man, nigga.
I had my Spider-Man shirt on and I turned into Spider-Man. So I had knew enough and proved enough to myself to say, I don't want this to turn into something that can never be reversed. They obviously trying to kill me. You know what I'm saying? The nigga was trying to put me in that fucking chokehold and wiggle all of the life out of me. And I was embarrassing him because he couldn't pull it off. So, yeah, I made a decision to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the women wanted to intercede. And, you know what I mean? I didn't want to put them in a precarious situation. You feel me? But the niggas
wanted to watch.
Yeah, the niggas, ain't nobody throw nothing. And mind y'all, I got in that situation because I was interceding on the behalf of somebody who was getting Peter rolled by the police in Debo.
Right.
It was a brother on the block. He was selling DVDs and niggas was like, oh, you should have let that nigga get rolled up. He ain't had no business. I'm like, nigga, everybody's on the block hustling. He hustles next to you every day. Right. Now, all of a sudden, he's in the wrong because the 12 run down on him.
He wasn't wrong when you niggas was buying DVDs from him.
Everybody was selling something under the goddamn table, if you will, during that on that block.
Fuck out of here.
So, yeah, man. But to put it in full circle and perspective, I'm like, then I can't. That was 07. I left the block. I went to 42nd Street and ended up meeting Johnny Shipes, and I got the Nipsey contract. I worked the Nipsey contract to 09. Michael Jackson dies on June 25th. I come back on June 26th, set up shop next to the Apollo, and I never left. Showed y'all how to upload footage to to YouTube, and then we spawned a movement now that has rippled around the planet and through the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm there tomorrow with the latest iteration of the information by way of our brother Keys, seeing Yaki, right? And then seeing Rich on stage being a native of Harlem, being the younger generation of this conscious community, he represents the prototype of the children we was attempting to reach on those blocks demonstrating.
Right.
He picked up and ran with it. You know what I'm saying? And now he's 100 miles and running. You feel me? Yeah. So I was appreciating the victory lap. You know what I'm saying? I was appreciating and seeing the W for what it is and not allowing nobody else to modify, in my eyes, what a win is. I'm like, nah, that's a win. We're going to celebrate this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all perspective at the end of the day.
So, yeah. So I cannot engage with that content of the dude getting choked out, even though everywhere I'm going in New York, that's all he's talking about. It's all over the news. It's everywhere I go. But I'm like, I ain't buying into that. I was in a bubble all the way up until yesterday. Today's my first day, like decompressing. Cause I've been preparing for this. But yesterday I've been preparing for that for like 2 months. Right. Just getting my mind right, just to really wrap my mind around what it all meant. And this is the beginning of a tour.
Right.
Of a stretch. You know what I'm saying? This is the beginning of a marathon. So I'm like, nah, I needed to be focused. You know what I'm saying?
I would say
these are high tide periods.
Right.
Because the moon is full, because it's in Scorpio, which is watery, emotions are gonna flare up. People are hell of emotional because of that video. They're protesting. You know what I'm saying?
They're shutting the city.
Globally. He was a Michael Jackson impersonation. Hold on. And let me put it in perspective as well. Like I said, this is MJ we talking about.
Right.
I had just watched a documentary before I came here called Culture Shock. And Mom was in it. And Mom was in this Michael Jackson documentary because she was a mainstay at the Apollo the days surrounding when Michael Jackson died, when they were in front of the Apollo celebrating his life and partying and dancing in the streets. They interviewed her. They showed her in the footage at least 3 times. I'm thinking about how it transformed my life and how I walked away from corporate and walked away from what could have been a comfortable position in the music industry to get back into the streets and to get into street vending, to get into the trenches with y'all, into the conscious community and bring something back that I learned when I was in corporate. To say, nah, let's do this shit.
Right.
You feel me? And then when you get to New York, the advertisements for the for Michael Jackson's play on Broadway is everywhere.
Oh, there's a play coming out?
It's out. We literally, when we was going to the hotel from the airport, we passed the block that they had the actual play on Broadway.
Wow. Who's playing him?
Huh?
Who playing Michael Jackson?
One of them niggas to be in the subways. I don't know.
Sammy?
Bro, this shit is on every garbage can. This shit is on every bus. This shit is on every billboard. Trust me. And we were staying on Broadway. So we seen this shit on Times Square. I mean, this shit is a ginormous.
Wow. Okay.
For MLK. I mean, for Michael Jackson. And they gonna ritualize that man like that. This shit crazy, bro.
By killing an MJ impersonator. And he was nice with that shit, too.
Bro. So, MJ, Dirty Diana, Coronation. You feel me? His connection to Diana. His beef he had with Charles. Remember, Charles wasn't fucking with Mike.
Right.
Questioning his relationship with his wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Shit run deep, man. You know? It's a wild synchronization. So, y'all need to keep your heads on a swivel because these are high ritualistic times, and I'm not about fear propagation. I'm not about, we ain't beating the drums of doom and gloom. I'm just saying, be cognizant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, again, as a community, as a people, we feel to jump on these portal days and utilize them. Shout out to my brother Sauce, the School of Sauce. He put an amazing post up about these portal days. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? But these days, you know, that we supposed to be getting prepared for, you know, many days out. You know what I'm saying? Years before these times. You know, we need an ephemeris. We need astrologers that can, you know, signal and identify days and get people ready years in advance. You dig what I'm saying? This shit. I mean, come on, man. Let's stop doing things sloppy. Let's really embrace the consciousness and the magic of it. Y'all, they spawned the whole bootleg movement out of consciousness and called this shit woke, and it's a geopolitical global phenomenon, right? And these people are taking in their boots. Now, another community has taken consciousness and traversed it and transformed it into what, and weaponized it into what they choose to use to get their agenda forward. Once again, showing you that there's power in this, but we're just not using it right as a people. When I say us, I don't mean me and my team. You know what I'm saying? I mean the larger collective. Yeah, then there's like goofy shit going on still in this community with people that are considered to be the leaders or the torchbearers or the niggas that's next up or the people whose names that you might know. Right?
I'm gonna just say it like this:
Goofy
y'all
shit
should be
going on.
ashamed of yourselves.
Goofy shit going on
That
at
makes,
the
yeah,
time when the people who are the real representatives of the future, when the people who are the ethical people carrying the torch, you feel me? They exist at the same time as well, and they doing things that are historical. So since your attention is yours, right? Who are you gonna pay? Who are you gonna pay it forward to? Because you're paying with your attention. Don't even register this shit in your consciousness by giving it an audience. You need to turn the tube off, period. And be like, yo, I ain't going nowhere near that goofy, doofy shit. I ain't going nowhere near it. Like, what can it possibly do for me? So we on tour. You know, we got a litany of cities that we about to hit up and lit up and touch. I implore you, if we coming through your town, pull up, come and see the gods. This shit is historical. It's for the people. It's for the culture. You know what I'm saying? This is not no lightweight shit. This is a heavyweight demonstration for the culture to show that we can take high level conversations, which is i.e. consciousness, right? High end consciousness, and pack out theaters, pack out, you know what I'm saying? Whole venues, not talking no shit.
right,
Ain't nobody dancing and doing jiggles on the stage. This is not for entertainment purposes only.
right.
This is entertainment. Yeah, we're coming to Dallas. But we coming to Dallas with the FBA conference at the end of this month.
Memorial Weekend, we'll be in Dallas for the FBA Expo.
Yeah, let me say, what's the word I should say? What's the word that I'm looking for? Until further notice, right? I'll just leave it at that. But we are coming to Houston on a tour. Where else?
Chicago.
No, yeah, but there's a Texas leg of it.
Philadelphia.
And
Let me see about the Texas. I'll get you.
yeah, there's a leg that's coming through. Shout out to my brother Wild West. I seen your message. LA's not on the list right now. I'm sure it will be added. You know what I'm saying? And I did see the DM, and I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you as well.
Blue.
Yeah.
June 14th, Dallas. June 15th, Austin.
Okay.
June 15th, Houston. June 17th, San Antonio. Big Dallas run.
Yeah. Big Texas run, right? We all through Texas, right? They might have to bring one of them governors out or something. It's lit. So, yeah, we running through Texas. You know what I'm saying? We hitting Texas up. There's little to no excuse for you not to see the guards pull up, you know what I'm saying, to the Lone Star State. We got a lot of dates in Texas. And then me and Red, you know, will be at the FBA demonstration, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Um, yeah, until further notice. Hmm?
Further notice.
Yeah, and yeah, we're still going to be demonstrating and showing up with the Maroon documentary so we can start a conversation once again that is indelibly tied into this conversation about the doctrine of discovery, about reclamation of the land, about nationality, about you understanding who you are, what you are, where you are, and how you are, where you are. You know, all of these things still need to be explained and discussed. And it is indelibly connected to AI. It is indelibly connected to the global reset. You know, we're running out of time when it comes to having these conversations and getting beyond just conversing, you know, making decisive decisions based on the information that you have about the moves that you're going to make to secure yourself. Because the landscape is changing. I would say the landscape has changed, period.
I'm about to say that. That should already change.
Yeah, the landscape has changed, right? Don't fall into the distractions. And I'm not saying somebody getting killed on the subway is a distraction, but what you're going to do at this point, you got to secure yourself, right? Security, security, security. You got to secure your person. You got to secure your property. You got to secure your status, right? And that's not just status correction. I'm talking about your overall status.
That part.
You got your status as a human. You got to secure your status as an entity, a live human being, right? Who has rights that are to be respected. There's a lot of things that you still got to secure. Things are transforming, and they're transforming quick. In the way that they're setting up this phase of transformation, there will be no going back.
What are two things that anybody that's listening to this could do today on the eclipse?
Hold on. St. Louis, yes, we got the Louis on the stop. That will be my first time in St. Louis. So we pulling up to the Lou as well.
They never been to the Lou?
That's the Midwest leg tour, Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis.
Back.
Shout out to California, yes.
Yo, so what two things that they could do today on the eclipse to get them right?
I would water fast today. You know, if you haven't already eaten something, I would attempt to just keep it to liquids and not just totally water.
Okay.
Right. No Phoenix dates yet. No DC dates. DC, you can pull up to Baltimore. We'll be in B-more on Tuesday.
Right.
Right. So that'll be a stop. It's going to be Tuesday in B-more. I'm sure, you know, B-more gonna have enough space and room for y'all all to pull up and show up and represent. Shout out to B-more.
Yeah, DMV, y'all family, pull up.
Yeah, so like I said, I would keep it on a water fast today. And yes, I would be very intentional. You know what I'm saying? I would be very intentional watching my thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sitting, I wouldn't really play outside too much because niggas gonna be recklessly drinking, which means that they're going to be recklessly driving or, you know, becoming vessels for
entity.
Walking.
Right.
I'm walking through the streets of New York. This shit is a mental asylum. And the people are vassals to be occupied by entities. That's all they are. They're empty suits just waiting to be jumped into, you know what I'm saying, by an entity to want to start junk with you, bump into you, start funk with you.
Oh, nah. Niggas is possessed out there, boy. For show.
You know what I mean? So you gotta be in your mind. Do not fall for the traps. They tried it on me 3 times already since I've been here.
Right.
Trying to put me out of character. I mean, I get a different response because I'm in all white. And I normally have the Obatala energy when it comes across homeless or people who have mental issues, they straighten up. Right? They straighten up because I'm inside of those realms. But we did run into, you know, remember you sent me that video on the CIA the other day? While I'm explaining it to Hugh, and then the shit happens in real time. What they call chance encounters.
Chance encounters, right.
Real time. We'll break it down to you. But yeah,
Right.
you know, still taking place, but it's to be expected. You know what I'm saying? We definitely know that we're not being observed or witnessed.
I mean, look at what y'all doing. Look at what you embarking on right now. That shit is going to be heavily bail.
Yeah. So it's heavily, you know, all of that or whatever. It's like, so if I'm telling you for myself, like, this is a life demonstration, I have to do these things to maintain not only my sanity and my safety, you know what I'm saying? Like, this being conscientious of who you're around and what's going on is everything. But there's no better time to do that than now, because these portals are open and things are happening and people are harvesting energy, right? And physical, and you know, an aspect of physicality. So just be on your P's and Q's, man. You know, keep your eye on your children. Don't let them wander and waver. You know, and also at the same time, you see all of the information come out about Epstein last week coming into this week. It happened over the weekend and it spilled into this week. And what it told you is that he was complicit to the very top tiers of American industry and government. He was meeting with the CIA director, and he was meeting with Billy Gates. We already know that, but also the head of Goldman Sachs. And these people said, yeah, you know, I was, you know what I'm saying? I was checking him for financial advice. Nigga, he was going to his crib at 11 p.m.
Right.
What type of finances is y'all talking? You a businessman. Like, you're supposed to keep business hours. You got to be at work in the morning to run a multinational.
Right.
The basement eating babies and you know what I'm saying? Pushing wood and little girls.
And they sold his 2 islands.
And they talking about making it a resort.
They're going to turn this shit into a resort. Shout out to Minister Be Better. Yeah, they finna turn St. James Island. They finna turn Jeff Epstein's motherfucking house structure into a resort out there in the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, they didn't fumigate. They didn't sage it. They didn't level it. Right? They're not speaking about no compensation for the victims. You're supposed to decimate that. That is a pariah on the planet for the things that took place there. How you gonna build on top of it and call it a resort and charge people like yin yang? Because let me tell you, if you've never been to St. John, if you've never been to St. Thomas on the resort side of things, my nigga, yeah,
that shit beautiful.
Shit is beautiful, but it's very pricey.
Yeah, what they call it?
We went to St. John in 2018.
Yeah, we went to St. John's, and we saw it right in the water. We saw it. They pointed it out.
$11 then. They had bread for $11. They had peanut butter for $8.
Yeah, they were going through inflation over there.
We already knew about inflation.
Yeah.
We already knew it was coming because we seen it in the Virgin Islands in 2018. It went at $11 for a gallon of milk. It went at $8 for a thing of peanut butter, $11 for a loaf of bread. And the people over there don't make no extra bread.
Right. Crazy.
They touching the same bread and less because they work in the hospitality industry. They don't got no main businesses on those islands. And this is where Bloomberg got the mansions. This is where Dick Cheney and them got mansions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is where Island is at. This is where the richest of the richest are posting up and calling home and playing on the natives, right? And attempting to price them out with inflation after the hurricane.
That's the same thing in New York, where after post-COVID, you know, everything goes skyrocket high. And even prior to that, it's like just this whole idea